A good night of Shabbos, everyone. We would like to wish a great hearty Mazel Tov to our sponsor and arranger, Moshe Frank, on the birth of his son. May have a lot of nachas from him and the rest, and may we merit the coming of Mashiach now. We are standing today on Erev Shabbos, Parshas Mishpatim, Parshas Shkolim, Shabbos Mevorchim Chodesh Adar, a very special month. It's the last month of the Jewish months of the year. It's not the last month of the year 5783, but it's the last month in the count of months, because Adar is 12, and then comes Nisan. Nisan is again the first month. And Adar is the happiest month of the year. Our sages tell us when Adar comes in, we increase in joy. And it's obviously something that's the Rebbe focus. It's something that starts already, not only when the month of Adar actually starts, but even Shabbos Mevorchim Adar, when we already start blessing the month of Adar, we could already experience the joy of Adar. And Adar is also connected with health and strength and eternity. As the Gemara says, that Adar Bari Mazel, the Jewish people's mazel, the Jewish people's spiritual strength and energy shines very brightly during this month. Adar comes from the word Adir, mighty, powerful. Adar B'Amorim Hashem. It's a very powerful month. So let's just highlight a few lessons that we learn. Parshas Mishpatim speaks about justice. And today many people will claim that we are living in a world that is full of injustice, or the justice system itself is maybe one of the biggest injustices of society. As the famous expression goes, that any time that the justice system gives a just verdict, it's merely coincidence, because technically there's so many fallacies and corruptions and abstract ideas and whatever, and this whole court system, justice system today is inhabited by alien ideas which inhibit the actual presentation of justice, manifestation of justice. That is why Mashiach will be the ultimate judge. We say in our prayers, Hashiva Sheftenu Kvar Yishen, Hashem should return our judges as in previous days, judges that were morally straight, judges that had a sense of what's right, and most importantly, judges that made people feel secure. They felt that there was an authority who was really caring and interested in establishing justice, not just, caring for their own ideas. But besides the return of our judges, as in former days, we also pray for the coming of Mashiach. And Mashiach, one of the things that verses describe him as is somebody who will judge the people, v'shafat b'tzedek dalam, who will judge the poor people with righteousness. He will judge the whole world. He will teach them to do what's right. He will settle their disputes. And what's unique about Mashiach is that by Mashiach there won't be any bluff, there won't be any corruption. He won't need to analyze data and to get lost in the analyzing of data and the abstract way how to relate to ideas, and if this witness, and to cross-examine the witness from that angle, the third angle, and to figure out how you could spin a tale. Mashiach will be moirach v'doin. He will judge by his sense of smell, which means he will sense right away what's right. And what will guide him? What will guide him is not any money, politics, or any other things around him. What will guide him is, it says, v'harichoi biras Hashem. He will smell with the fear of heaven. Mashiach will be so imbued with the fear of heaven, he'll instantly smell what's right and what's wrong. And if the guy is saying the truth, if the guy is saying a lie, and what's the right thing that has to be done. Not only that, that's half the story. The other half of the story is that when people will be in the presence of Mashiach, and they'll realize the unique ability of Mashiach, the unique godly connection that he has, that he senses the truth, they will be overcome with a feeling of shame, and they'll realize that Mashiach knows the truth. There's nothing to hide from him. And that itself will be the greatest effect that they will have on the people that are coming from with their disputes. They will realize that if they want to lie, here is someone that could see through their lies. So Mashiach will cut all the bluff, all the corruption, all the judges today, we go by analyzing and arguments and abstract ideas, what's right, what's wrong, and every criminal could be turned into the most righteous person, if you start going into abstract philosophies, and did he have this motive, that motive, the third motive? Mashiach will see what's right, not because he will analyze, but because he will have the ability to cut straight to the core of everything and bring out that core in such a way that everyone will realize that this is the truth. So when we speak about justice, when we speak about doing what's right, so there's a lot of justice that has to be done, but the ultimate justice is doing things right because we're imbued with a sense of Yiras Hashem, a sense of fear of Hashem, and therefore we automatically do not allow for things that are incorrect to become part of our lives, and we help reflect that to other people as well. That is the ultimate sense of justice. The ultimate sense of justice is not that there has to be crime and we try to deal with it, but to try to prevent it by being imbued with what is right, with fear of Hashem, and automatically anything that smells of a crime, of injustice, whether it's between person and person, and so on and so forth, will automatically be eradicated. So that's the first thing we come to Parshas Mishpatim. Torah teaches us Eila Mishpatim Meshatasim Lifneim, the judgments that the Torah Moshe Rabbeinu gave in front of the Jewish people. And our sages highlight, we know that Parshas Mishpatim speaks about ethical things that could be understood with human intellect, but human intellect is not enough. The Mishpatim, the judgments, come as a continuation to the revelation at Sinai. Justice cannot be based on human intellect. We have seen time and time again how human intellect, if anything, has an idea of obstructing justice by coming up with all types of ideas and bureaucracies and so on and so forth. The way I implement justice is by realizing that it's Hashem who judges the world. The Mishpatim, Parshas Mishpatim, comes as a continuation of Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, the revelation of Mount Sinai, which was a supernatural revelation. So too, even though by justice we have to deal with natural means, and we don't yet have the revelation of Mashiach who is judging people by the sense of smell, but we still have to have that sense of comprehension, of understanding, of realization that justice is a godly tool. And that by having that understanding, we'll be able to act justly with ourselves, with our family and friends, and the world at large. So that's a lesson from Parshas Mishpatim. Coming to Parshas Shkolim, Parshas Shkolim speaks about giving money, a little bit of money, not so much money. It's not a yearly appeal where you're being matched by any donors. Parshas Shkolim is you gave a half a shekel, and that was it for the year. That wasn't so much for most people. You weren't allowed to give more, even if you wanted to, even if you had 10 donors to match your donation. And the question is, how does giving the half a shekel, why is it such a great mitzvah, and take out the Torah every year when we read it before other? And the answer is, as many Mefarshim explain, is that it wasn't so much the money that you gave, but it was the simcha, you gave it in a way of joy, of happiness. You put your whole life and soul into it. It's like when, somebody mugs, people that mug, they say it's your money or your life. And so too over here, it's not about the money, it's about your life. When you give the money, you're putting your life into it. So the Jewish people sin with the golden calf. Moshe Rabbeinu asks Hashem, how could they be atoned for? So Hashem says to give a half a coin. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, how is that going to help? And Hashem shows them a half a coin of fire. And the famous explanation is that Hashem was showing Moshe that when you give the coin with fire, with your essence, then it's not how much you give, but giving it with a simcha. Our sages tell us that the person gets more blessings for appeasing, for giving stuck with words of appeasement, showing a genuine care and concern, than if someone just gives the money without showing a genuine care and concern. It's not so much about what you give. The person wants to do many good things. He's limited. Okay? The person can only do what he could do. The question is, how do you do it? Do you put your life and soul, your heart and soul into it? That's what counts. And we're also coming to the month of Adar. The month of Adar is the month of joy. And the Rebbe says a very powerful thing. We know our purpose in this world is to make Adira B'Tachtonim, a dwelling place for Hashem. Joy is an integral component of serving Hashem, because wherever Hashem goes, happiness is there. Where Hashem is, there is joy, there's gladness in His presence. If you want to make Adira B'Tachtonim, a dwelling place for Hashem, we have to do it in a way of happiness, of joy. If you're miserable because you're serving Hashem, you might be doing great things, you might get a great portion of Gan Eden. But the dira, if you have a dwelling place and the dwelling place is full of negative energy, it's not, no one will really want to live there. at least they wouldn't feel too happy over there. If you want to make a dwelling place that people enjoy, the dwelling place has to be illuminated, beautiful, spacious. Person walks in, he really feels happy about it. So we're making a dwelling place for Hashem by doing mitzvahs. Our mitzvahs has to be imbued in our life as a whole. Our whole life is really, even our physical affairs are about serving Hashem. It has to be imbued with joy. When we bring joy, we bring Hashem down here into this world. We make a dira b'tachtoinim. So this is a very important message. We're also coming now from Chav Beishvat, the yard side of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe speaks that one of the unique contributions of a woman in Yiddish, and physically and spiritually, is that women like to beautify their homes, right? They want, the women are the one, maybe things have changed, they say, over time, but the women are the ones that make sure the house looks nice, and they don't just want 4 walls, but they decorate it, and so on and so forth. And similarly, in Yiddishkeit, the women are the ones that try to make Yiddishkeit happy and enjoyable, and so on and so forth. And the point is also for everyone, men, women, children, whoever it is, month of year of Hakel, which applies to men, women, and children, is that our serving Hashem should be done in a way that is beautiful, that is happy, that is enthusiastic, that we enjoy. And we have to imbue with simcha. And it comes the month of Adar. Torah tells us that every Jew has the ability to increase in simcha, and Hashem gives them reasons to increase in simcha, and a Jew should focus on the good things that happen in life, to try to be happy about them, and to find more good opportunities to be happy. Because in order to make a dira b'tachtenim, dwelling place for Hashem, it's about the life you do, that you're putting into it. Hashem doesn't just want the mitzvah, He wants your involvement in it, your happiness with it. That is why simcha is so integral, and the joy of simcha has no limit. There's no limit how much you could be joy. It says you increase, and the Rebbe said every day you should increase more than the day before, and you keep on increasing. Because the more simcha you have, the more you're able to go out of your limitations, the more you're able to connect with Hashem. Hashem is a source of happiness, and happiness breaks all boundaries, and you're able to make a dwelling place for Hashem. So this is the message that we take from this Shabbos Parshas Mishpatim, Parshas Shkalim, Chodesh Adar. As we go into the month of Adar, we have to connect with Hashem in a happy way, put our life, our heart and soul in the mitzvahs that we do in a happy way. And even if we're not doing a mitzvah, we should be happy. The obligation to be happy in the month of Adar is not limited only to mitzvahs. Everything that we do, we should increase in happiness in general. It helps us serve the Eibush in the long run. And we should also increase our idea of Mishpatim, our idea that realizing that intellect itself, cold intellect, as beautiful as it might be, is still cold. And we need to have that our intellect, our understanding should be infused with something higher, with Sinai, with the revelation of Sinai, which came as an introduction to Parshas Mishpatim, that even our interactions, our sense of what's right, what's wrong, has to be connected with a godly connection with Fariche Biras Hashem, to be imbued with the fear of Hashem, which should guide us and give us the godly instinct of staying away from what's wrong, even though intellectually might sound like a good thing, or intellectually we might be able to rationalize some negative things we want to do, but because we have fear of Hashem, we know that we should not do it, and we should merit through all of this, we should merit the coming of Mashiach and the transformation. We know that the month of Adar, the greatest joy is the joy of transforming something negative to happiness, which is what the month of Adar is all about. The Napechu, that Haman wanted to annihilate the Jewish people, and not only he wasn't successful, but it was turned around. Many non-Jews were running to become Jews because the Jews became so famous and great, and so on and so forth. So we should merit the transformation of all negative things into happiness, and we should have the coming of Mashiach now. Have a good Shabbos.